Hi friends, this video is regarding SQL Server installation. Welcome to my channel. So today I am going to show how to install SQL Server 2014 Developer Edition on your Windows 10 computer. So first of all you need to download the SQL Server setup, then you need to run it. So I have already downloaded the setup with my PC, so right now I'm going to install. So this is the SQL Server 2014 setup. I am opening with WinRAR. Or otherwise I can use Daemon Tools because I have Daemon Tools installed in my system. So I can use Daemon Tools, or I can use WinRAR, anything. So I am extracting the file. So it's gonna taking few moments to extract the file. It's taking much longer time as I think of now. It's already 65%, 67%, 68% done. It's almost 90% done. So it's completed of extracting. So now friends, you can see the setup file over here. We have to run this setup file. So I'm gonna run as administrator and clicking on yes and just waiting for a few moments to pop up the installation window. So it's showing please wait while Microsoft SQL Server 2014 setup process the current operation. That means it's processing some background operation which is taking time. So wait for a few moments. So this is the installation setup window. So here you can see on the left hand side there is some sub menus like planning, installation, maintenance, tools, resource, advanced option, and here is also some details of those sub windows. So in planning we can see the hardware and software requirement, in security documentation, online release notes, etc, etc. So not wasting time, I'm going to install the SQL Server 2014. So by clicking on installation, by left clicking on installation, so when I clicking on installation, at that point of time on the right hand side this new featured option has popped up. So I'm going to click on new SQL Server standalone installation or add features to existing installation. Also you can use new SQL Server failover cluster installation. If your previous installation get failed and you want to restart from that point, you can use new SQL Server failover cluster installation option, or you can add some node to the SQL failovers clusters by adding node to SQL Server failover clusters. So after clicking on new server standalone installation, this message is showing please wait. So this is the SQL setup. Open, this is the product key where you have to enter your product key. So now, and then click on next. You have to select I accept the license terms, and also you can turn on customer experience improvement program and error reporting to the help improve the quality, reliability and performance of the Microsoft SQL Server 2014. But I'm leaving this unchecked because I don't want to interact with Microsoft SQL Server. So clicking on next, and it's checking for some rules, as you can see here now. And you can also click on show details to see what is the process going on in the background. You can check this all rules get passed, and then the screen goes to the next option. So here you can see use Microsoft update to check the updates. It's recommended for updating the software to get the new updates. But if you are not using a license Microsoft SQL Server 2014, then it's going to corrupt your installation, or not corrupt exactly, it's going to uh, identify you are not using a recommended version. So I am leaving this as unchecked, so clicking on next. So right now there is some tasks checking going on. Scan for products and updates, you can see it's already completed. And as I unchecked update option, that's why download setup files is skipped, extract setup files is skipped, and install setup files is skipped right now. But it will get installed later, because in my SQL Server setup I have all these updated files, so that's why I haven't downloaded that. So again it's checking some rules. If you want, you can check it's in progress, past warning. It gets one warning for Windows firewall is on. You can click on warning and you can see the detailed information why this warning alert is popped up. So this is the Microsoft website link, you can see here for more information. I'm clicking on OK. So now I'm clicking on next. So what is the option selected over here? SQL Server featured installation. I am leaving as it is, clicking on next. And it's showing the list of all SQL Server features which is going to be installed in this installation tutorial. So I am selecting all of this. And if you want to change your root directory, you can change it from here, but I don't want to change, so I am leaving as it is and clicking on next. So it's showing the message, please wait. It's going to take few minutes to check entire system configuration and the required space in C drive where this SQL Server is going to install. So again it's checking some operations and it's get past all those things. Now this is the default instance I am going to install, so I am clicking on next. And this is the instance ID, MS SQL Server. So again it's showing, please wait. So it's going to take few moments, just wait guys. So here is some services which are going to be installed in our system during this SQL Server 2014 installation. So here is the name of the account regarding my system. This is the SQL Server agent. If you are in a domain name server, then you have to put the domain name and put the password to get through the process. And the startup type is showing manual for 1 2 3 4, and 1 is disabled. So I am going to automatic the starter type for SQL Server agent, SQL Server distributed reply client, and SQL Server distributed reply controller. I cannot change the full text filter daemon language launcher from manual to automatic, and the SQL Server browser is disabled. I am also going to make it automatic. So I want all the services should start automatically when the system gets boot up. So now clicking on next and waiting for the next step of the installation. So here we can see there is two different authentication mode. One is Windows authentication mode and another is the mixed authentication mode for SQL Server authentication. So if you don't record any user ID and password to get login in your SQL Server with mixed authentication mode, then you can leave it as it is. But I want mix mode and I want some user ID and password to get logged in my SQL Server. So I'm typing the password. You can type as you wish. So just below of that there is showing specify SQL Server administrator. It's asking for who will be the administrator of this SQL Server database engine. So I'm going to add my default user of computer. So I'm going to click on add current user. It takes few moments, then it's added my current desktop user. So now clicking on next, again it's asking for the specify which user have administrative permission for analysis service. It's asking for what user is going to have the administrator permission for the analyzing the all SQL services, and if any change is required they can make the changes. So again I am going to make my default system user as a administrative permission. So I'm again clicking on add current user. Sorry, the clicked not worked properly. So now it's added. Now clicking on next. So here the options for the reporting service and native mode, I want to leave it as it is. If you want, you can install only, and I'm leaving it as it is and clicking on next. So again it's asking for some permissions to specify which user have permission for the distributed reply controller service. This is the service of SQL Server 2014, which is asking for the user permission, which user is going to have the permission for the controlling of distributed reply controller. So again I am going to add the current user. So I have clicked on current user and it gets added. So now I am clicking on next. If you want, you can change your working directory and resultant directory of your SQL Server installation process, and you can specify your controller name if you want, but I'm leaving it as a blank and clicking on next. So now it's should be asking for installation or not. So all of these features and services are going to install during this installation. So you can check it from here, what are the services are going to install. This is the configuration file path, which is by default in C drive, program files, Microsoft SQL Server 120 setup, bootstrap, log. So now I'm clicking on install, and it's going to take a long time to complete the installation. So first of all, it's showing user features, expanding, generating configuration, and it's going to take long time. When it's completed, I will get back to you. So guys, it's near about going to finish our installation. So just wait for few more minutes, then it's going to finished. So it will take some more minutes to finish the installation. So friends, now you can see the installation is going to complete. It's showing please wait while Microsoft SQL Server setup process the current operation. So just it will take few more moments to finish the installation. We are waiting for that. So you can see all the service and features are installed and all get succeed. So now I'm closing this window by click on closing. So we have completed our SQL Server installation, and now for checking purpose we need to click on search or Contrana in Windows 10. Then we have to find for all programs, we have to go to all programs, and here you can see a folder called SQL Server 2014, which is newly installed. So I'm expanding this folder and I can see the SQL Server 2014 Configuration Manager. So I'm clicking on SQL Server 2014 Configuration Manager, and it's going to run for the first time. So just waiting for the coming up the Windows SQL Server 2014 Configuration Manager. So the Configuration Manager is open up, and here I'm going to do few settings. I'm going to enabling the protocols for MS SQL Server, and I'm going to enable named pipes. And here is the message or warning showing any changes made will be saved. However, they will not take an effect until the service is stopped and restarted. So basically it's saying we have to restart the system after enabling these features or service, otherwise we can just simply restart the SQL Server service by using SQL Server Configuration Manager, which I will show you later on this video. So I'm clicking on OK. Otherwise this feature, enabling these features will not take effect. Same for the TCP/IP. This is the Internet Protocol Service for MSQL Server. So now clicking on SQL Server Services. Now we can see here the SQL Server. In the first bracket it's written MS SQL Server. This is the main database engine service. So we have to restart this service for taking effects of changes which I have made. So by clicking on this icon, this is the restart service for SQL Server, we are going to restart this service. So click on the restart service. So it's first stopping the all services, then it will restart all services once again, and our changes will take effect. So it's starting service now. So the SQL Server service is restarted. So I'm closing this window. Now I'm going to check my SQL Server Management Studio is working properly or not, because we're going to work with SQL Server Management Studio for the development purpose of any software database. So I'm typing SSMS, which is the short form for SQL Server 2014 Management Studio. So I'm running this SQL Server 2014 Management Studio. It's showing Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio is going to open. So it's taking few moments for opening the SQL Server Management Studio for the first time. So SQL Server Management Studio has opened up. So now here you can see the server name as I given. It's the default username of my computer. And now if you want to log in with Windows authentication, you don't need to provide any user ID or password for entering the SQL Server Management Studio. But I will not going to use Windows authentication. I am going to use SQL Server authentication, and the default login user is SA for the SQL Server, and I'm giving the password which I have provided at the time of installation. So you need to provide your own password which you have given. So now clicking on connect, and it's going to connect with database server engine, and it's successfully logged in SQL Server Management Studio. So for today, friends, we are stopping by now. In next video, I'm going to describe all the features of SQL Server Management Studio and what will be the purpose of usage of these settings or these features of SQL Server Management Studio. And thanks for watching my video. If you like this video, click on like button, and if you like this channel, please click on subscribe button for more videos. So goodbye and good night.